Our program is called DEPTH, which is Developing Education for Pregnancy and Teen Health. Our program goals are to improve sexual health in teenage girls, and the general purpose of our program is to provide knowledge and support for young women during the pregnancy and on through graduation in hopes to educate others in prevention and sexual education.
The project goal for DEPTH is to improve sexual health in teenage girls. Our priority population is teenage girls ages 14 through 18, currently enrolled in high school. Our evaluation question is, will our intervention improve the sexual health knowledge in our population?
The impact outcome for our project is to improve sexual and maternal health knowledge. The health outcome is to decrease unwanted teen pregnancies within our population.
Our research design is a quasi-experimental. This can be displayed in Observation 1, Intervention, Observation 2. Second line is Observation 1, Observation 2. The top line in this would be the one receiving the intervention, and the bottom line would be the control not receiving the intervention. Our sampling procedures are stratified random sampling. The measurements we intend to use for the main independent and dependent variables are following. Independent variable will be a pre-test, as it is a categorical measure of females ages 14 to 18. The dependent variable will be done through the pre- and post-test evaluation.
Our measuring tools for the quasi-experimental study contains a pre- and post-test design designed to measure the student's knowledge at the beginning and the end of our intervention.
The conceptual model we are using for DEPTH is the theory of reasoned action, which can be displayed in the following chart. On the top left corner would be the attitude toward the behavior. This is displayed in attitude toward safer sex practices. Directly beneath it would be the subjective norm, which we have displayed as teen pregnancy rates. Those flow into behavioral intention, which we have as practicing safer sex methods. All of these go into a final behavior, which is participating in safer sex and reducing pregnancy rates.
From the data we collected, here are our results displayed. We took into account class size, average age, pre-test scores, post-test scores, received intervention, pregnancy rate, and average on track to graduate. We decided to create a chart to display our results comparing the three classes and evaluating their test scores in comparison to those who received the intervention or not. The average age was between 14 to 15, the pretest scores averaged 34 to 38, and the post-test scores varied depending whether they received the intervention. Class 1 received an intervention and post-test scores averaged 83.4, which was 45.4 point higher than their pretest scores. Class 2 received no intervention and their average pretest scores were 34 and their average post-test score was 38.4, which was an increase of only 4.4. Class 3 was split with 15 receiving the intervention and 15 who did not receive the intervention. Their average pretest score was 35 and their average post-test score was 66, which was an increase of 31.
Our second graph compares those who received the intervention, pregnancy rates, and the percentage to graduate on track within the three classes. The first class all received the intervention, had an on-track graduation rate of 95% and resulted in no percentage of pregnancy. The second class received no intervention and had an on-track graduation rate of only 60% and a pregnancy rate of 10%. The third class had a 50% receiving the intervention, concluding with an on-track graduation rate of 90% and a pregnancy rate of 6% within that class.
Based on the type of data we have, we will be using chi-square analysis due to the multiple variables. The findings that we have for our data provides those who received the intervention results in a significant increase in the post-test compared to the pre-test results. Those who did not receive the intervention
showed minimal improvement in scores. Therefore, we can determine that the intervention increased knowledge and awareness of safe sexual health practices. Those who received the intervention were at a higher probability to graduate. Those who did not receive the intervention were at a greater risk to become pregnant. Our findings show that the data proves the intervention and the program were effective and the objectives were reached. Although the data we found we proved to be effective, we do acknowledge limitations in the program being small sample size and only implemented in one school. Thank you from Group 8.